Hello guys, this is a new lesson from Mr. Hassan, and what we're talking about today is definite and indefinite articles. Actually, we have some points to talk about today. I'm going to start with an introduction, a general overview about the articles, and then we will touch upon the indefinite articles and when to use them correctly in English. Then I'm going to move to the definite article, the, and we will see ways how to use it and when not to use the. Finally, we will see some cases where no article is needed. So let's get started. Actually, we have three articles in English. They are a and an, the indefinite articles, and the as a definite article. So you see we have two types of articles, definite and indefinite. Alright, let's see the indefinite articles a and an. They are used to refer to something which is not known to the person you're talking to. So when the other party in your conversation has no idea about the thing you're referring to, you use a or an. And guys, articles are usually linked with nouns. Okay, so you have to know something about nouns before you study articles. Alright, this is very important. And one more thing which is very important here is considering the sounds of the noun, not the letters. So a, for example, is used before a noun that starts with a consonant sound. And I want you to focus on the word sound here. It's not a consonant letter. This is a common mistake. It's a consonant sound. Okay, so you say a city, a book, a factory. When the s sound here at the beginning and the b sound and the f sound, it's not f letter and b letter and c letter. Okay, this is very important. An is used before a noun starting with a vowel sound. Let's see some examples. So you say, for example, an elephant, an ice cream, an apple, for example, because they start with a vowel like a, apple. Okay, it's not the letter A we're talking about here. We're talking about the sound a. So I'm going to show you an example now, so you see the difference between sounds and letters. Alright, notice here we have all the nouns in the examples here starting with the same letter, which is U. Okay, but the same letter U has two sounds here. Let's see. An umbrella. Okay, an umbrella, it starts with a, the sound is a. An underwear, again the sound is a. So in these two cases, since they start with a vowel sound, we need an. So we say an umbrella, an underwear. But for the rest of these, the three here, we have a university, a user, and a uniform. They all start with the sound U, which is a consonant sound, not a vowel sound. So we need a here. Okay, I hope it's clear now, the difference between letter and sound. Okay, this is very crucial here in the field of articles. One more thing to remember about them is that if we have an adjective that is describing the noun, then if you want to decide whether to use a or an here, don't look at the noun itself, but look at the adjective. The adjective now becomes nearer to the article than the noun. Okay, so for example, consider here the word problem. It starts with a consonant sound, which is P, but since the adjective that precedes it starts with a, unusual, so we decide to take an here because it fits the vowel sound, not the consonant sound in problem. Okay, another example, we say a European country because we have European. The sound U is a consonant sound, we agreed a moment ago. And finally we have a broken egg. Egg alone needs an as an article, but since it is preceded by broken as an adjective, then broken will decide which article to use, which is here a. Now, when do we use the indefinite articles? We have actually three main places to consider here. One, before a singular countable noun. If you have a noun that you can count, okay, like tables, for example, then use a before it when it is singular. So we say a table, let's say, or an egg, okay, because we have eggs and we have tables, countable. Two, before a profession or a nationality or a religion, something like this. Examples are, you can say John is a teacher. Teacher is a profession, so we need a for it. Mike is an engineer, another profession. Or you can say she is an English woman. Her nationality is English. She comes from England. And finally, he is a Christian, or he's a Muslim, or any other religion. Okay. Number three, you use it with numbers that mean every. Okay, so for example, consider this. He washes his hands 5 times a day. A day here means every day. So every day he washes his hands 5 times. So to replace the word every here, we can use an article. Alright. Now let's move to the definite article, the. We use it when we know that the listener or the other party in our conversation can comprehend, can understand what we're talking about. Alright, this is in general. For example, you can say the apple you ate was rotten. How do we know that the other person will consider or will understand which apple we're talking about? There is this phrase here, you ate. This phrase defines the apple. It makes the apple known, alright, because it gives extra information about it. Okay, the apple you ate, not any other apple we're talking about, that specific one you ate. Or did you lock the car? Now, how do we know the car is definite? Consider this, for example, you and your friend are in the car and then you just get out of it. So of course you're talking about that car you were in, not the neighbor's car, for example. Alright. So what I'm saying here is that you need some context, guys, actually, in order to decide on the specific sentences. Context is very crucial also. Now, when do we use the? One, for a noun that is only one of its kind. There is only one thing in the word, okay, with this name, so we use the. For example, the pyramids. There are only the pyramids in Egypt that we know. There are no pyramids in any part of the world except in Egypt, so they are known, they are specific. Or for example, the White House. It's a very famous building in America. The sun and the moon, for example, the sun, we have only one sun in our solar system, so when you say the sun, you don't mean any other sun, for example. Or the moon. Now this is disputable. The earth has only one moon, our planet has only one moon, so when we say the moon, we refer to the moon that rotates around the earth. We don't need any other moons for other planets. Okay, that's why it's specific here, because some people dispute about it. Okay. Two, we use it for names of rivers, seas, and ocean. I mean water bodies. Okay, something like the Nile, which is a river, the Red Sea, or the Pacific. The Pacific is an ocean. Okay. Three, with geographical points on the globe, like the equator, okay, and the North Pole. Those are on the globe you have in your schools, for example, when you have geography lessons. 4, names of geographical places. What's the difference between 3 and 4? The difference is very simple. 3 refers to the things I told you about. You have that globe in your school, for example, laboratory. But 4, we're talking about real life places, okay, as we see. For example, the Middle East is a real life place, or the West. We're talking about the Western countries here. We're not considering the directions east and west. Okay. 5. Names of deserts, forests, peninsulas and gulfs. All these places we refer to them using the when we have their names. For example, the Sahara is a very large desert, and the Persian Gulf, or arguably the Arabian Gulf nowadays, the Black Forest, or the Iberian Peninsula. So all these places we refer to them using the. There's always the in the name. We don't say, for example, Black Forest, we say the Black Forest. Okay. 6. We use it for names of musical instruments. This is very important, guys, because we don't say, for example, piano, but we say the piano, the drums, the flute. Okay, always with musical instruments use that. 7. With sometime expressions like at the weekend. So the weekend, there's always the in it. Or we say in the evening, in the morning, in the afternoon. Alright, there's always that here. 8. We use it with dates. For example, you say on the first day of every month. Okay, for example, we have a meeting on the first day of every month. Or you can say the 5th of December. Okay, it's another date, so we always use it like this. 9. With some general expressions. Some words or some expressions have the in them. This is like a collocation. They can't go without the. For example, we say listen to the radio. We don't say listen to radio. Okay, or watch news. We say watch the news, for example. Or go to the market. There's always the with market. And search the internet. You search the internet. We don't say search the search internet, for example. You see, it's very difficult even to say it without that. It comes naturally with that. Now we will see places where the is not used. It's wrong to use the in these places. Okay, first, names of countries. We don't have the before names of countries, never. So for example, we say Syria, Mexico, Italy. We don't say the Italy or an Italy, never. Just Italy and that's it. But we have one exception here. When the name of the country has these words in it: state or states, kingdom, emirate or emirates, or the word republic or union. In this case, we need to add the to the name. For example, we say the UK, because the UK means the United Kingdom. So we have kingdom in the name, okay? The US, which is the United States. There is states in the name, so we use it. We don't say UK, I'm going to UK, for example. No, we say I'm going to the UK. The UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates. We have Emirates here. The Netherlands. The Netherlands are divided into parts. Okay, that's why we have that in them. Okay, or the Irish Republic. Republic, we have the word republic, so we use that. Alright, this is the only exception here. Number 2, we use it with names of continents. Continents are larger, layers of countries. A group of countries is named a continent. So for example, Asia, Europe, Africa. We have 6 continents in the world. Okay, 5 now after Australia joined. Something geography. We're not going through that. 3 names of towns and states. Okay, for example, Hama. This is a city in Syria, if you don't know. So this is a city or a town. Okay, we don't use any article here. Miami, which is in America, and Seoul, which is in South Korea. So these are names of cities or states, like Miami, it's a state, so we don't use that here. With names of streets also, we don't use anything, so you just say they live on Main Street, and that's it. Or Washington Boulevard. Boulevard is like a large street or something. 5 names of lakes, like Lake Titicaca, which is in South America, in some place there, or Lake Erie, which is a lake in North America. So we don't use the here. We don't say the Lake Titicaca, just Lake Titicaca, and that's it. Also, we have an exception here, like in the case of countries. When we have a group of lakes, now we can use them, you see, because there are many lakes. Like when we say the Great Lakes, okay, these are in America and Canada, somewhere up there. Names of mountains, also we don't use them, like Mount Everest, the famous one, or Mount Fuji in Japan. Again, we have an exception here. If we have a range of mountains, then in this case we use that. Alright, like we say the Andes or the Rockies or the Alps. Those are very famous ranges of mountains. Okay. Names of islands, also we don't use them. We say Easter Island or Maui. Maui is one island in Hawaii, except when we're talking about a group of islands. So in this case we use that. For example, the Hebrides or the Canary Islands, okay, a very famous group of lakes. Now this is just a reminder for you guys. This section here, other uses of articles, we talked about it before, but I want to give more examples in order to stress this idea. This is the crucial difference between definite indefinite articles. Okay, first mentioned versus second mentioned. I mean, when you mention the thing for the first time in your conversation versus when you mention it for the second time. If you mention it for the first time, go for a or an. Okay, only when you use it for the second time, use the. Now the reason why is this: when you first mention it, it is unknown to the other party in your conversation. But when you second mention it, when you mention it for the second time, then at least they have a background. You mean that thing, or you mean that person you mentioned earlier in the conversation. It becomes, in a way, in a sense, it becomes known to them. So you can use that here in this case. Here's an example. She's got 2 children, a girl and a boy. You see, the word boy and the word girl are mentioned for the first time in the conversation. So we use a girl, any girl, and a boy. Again, it can be any boy. But when you mention them in the second sentence for the second time in your conversation, you say the girl's 8 and the boy's 14. Now the listener in your conversation will comprehend, will work out that you mean the girl you mentioned earlier and the boy you mentioned earlier, not any other boy, not any other girl. Okay, now they become known in a way. Another example to make it clearer: I saw a man standing next to her. It could be any man in the world, okay, that was standing there next to her. Now you mention it for the second time. The man was dressed in blue. Now which man was dressed in blue? That man who was standing there next to her, not any other one. Okay, you got it now? It becomes clearer, I hope. 2. Specific versus unspecific. So simple. When something is specific, use the. When something is not specific, the listener cannot understand what you're talking about, then use a or an. 2 examples, again, to make it clear. The dog you keep is good. How do we know it's specific? Because of this. You keep. This phrase defines the dog, not any other dog. It's the one you keep. The one you keep is good. But if you are telling a story, for example, to somebody and you say, I saw a dog in the dark, since they don't know which dog you're talking about, it's unspecific, then use a. Okay, in this case. Now the last point in our lesson for today is dropping definite and indefinite articles. We're gonna see cases where no article is needed. Okay, don't use any article, neither indefinite nor definite. Number one, with names of languages and nationalities. When you want to refer to these, don't use any article. For example, English, Chinese, Spanish, Russian. Chinese as a language, for example, or Chinese as a nationality. Okay, you say, for example, she is Chinese, but Mr. Somebody would wonder, a couple of minutes ago you gave us an example saying she is an English woman. How come there you used an, and here you're saying that we don't use any article with English? Well, here is the case. In that sentence there is a noun that follows the word English. If you remember, she is an English woman. Woman is a noun that follows English. In this case we need an article. Okay, it's very necessary because we have a noun there. But if you just say she is English, that would be enough. No article, no noun. But you have a noun, then you need an article. Okay, learn it this way. No noun in the sentence, then there is no need for article in this case with nationalities. But when there is no noun, it's okay, just use the adjective English, Chinese, or whatever without any articles. Okay, clear? 2, with names of sports. Okay, unlike Arabic, for Arabic speakers, okay, we tend to use definite articles. Okay, the equivalent of the with the names of sports. Okay, but in English the case is different. Okay, try to compare the two languages to make it clear for you. Football, for example, we don't say the football. Okay, like the literal Arabic translation, we don't say something like this. We say volleyball only, hockey or basketball, and the list goes on. Okay, names of studies or subjects in school, university, whatever, don't use any articles. So you say biology, we have biology. Okay, we don't have the biology or a biology, something. We have mathematics, history, science, whatever. Also, before some nouns such as school, home, bed, work, etc., we don't use any article. These nouns tend to take no article. So for example, I'm going to school. It's not I'm going to the school or I'm going to a school or something. Okay. He always goes to bed early, not to the bed. She's going home. Okay, the word home is very special here. It doesn't take any article and it also doesn't take any preposition. So we don't say she's going to home or to the home. These are common mistakes among learners, so avoid them. She's going home, that's it. 5, before certain nouns like names of days, months, and seasons. Like on Monday, we don't say on the Monday. In June, in summer, okay, not in the summer, except when you are referring to a specific summer, for example. Okay, there are some exceptions. Number 6, with abstract nouns and the names of metals. Abstract nouns are nouns that you cannot comprehend using your 5 senses. These are nouns you cannot smell, touch, taste, or hear. For example, love, beauty, hatred, friendship, and the list goes on. These are abstract nouns. Okay, and now metals, for example, or other substances like wood, silver, gold, also we don't use any article with these. 7, the last one, before plural or uncountable nouns when talking in general about them. So for example, we say there are books on the table. They are in general. Okay, any books, but yet they are plural. We don't have only one book, we have books. So in this case, since they are, the two conditions should be there, by the way. They are plural, okay, or uncountable. Here let's stick to plural. Plural plus we're talking in general. Okay, we don't need any article. Milk is an uncountable noun. Okay, this is the first condition, and we're talking about milk in general. So we say milk is good for you. I'm talking in general. Milk as a general fact is good for the health. Okay, I'm not talking about any specific brand of milk or something. I'm talking in general. Milk, okay, as a drink, right? So this is it, guys, I guess. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and you know, this is very simple, but sometimes you need to memorize or learn some points as I listed them to you. This will make it easier for you. Okay, I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye bye.